My name is Johnathan Naranjo. I'm from Santa Clara, Pueblo, and I grew up here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, which is about 30 miles south of Santa Clara, Pueblo. I'm 36 years old. I've been making pottery for the past 10 years professionally, full time. But in reality, I started making pottery when I was just a child. And it starts very early, maybe about 6 years old, 4 years old. It's really hard to tell when I started making pottery. I just know that when my grandmother was making pottery for Swaya Indian Market in the 90s, that she would be always working with traditional clay and materials. And I remember walking up to her and asking her what she was doing. She was telling me, explaining that she's making a bowl, pottery bowl from Indian Market. And she asked me if I wanted to play with clay, so I said yes. And she handed me a big chunk of clay and said, "Here, grandson, have fun." And I just remember playing with it almost like it's Play-Doh, but I couldn't really make anything at the time. It was mainly just like snakes or dinosaurs, whatever I thought interested me as a kid. But that's where it starts is when you're a kid just playing with clay. When I really started to take pottery seriously was when I was about 21 years old. I was working for the state of New Mexico, an office job, and it was just data entry with numbers, and it was all right. It was a fine job, but I found myself doodling because I've always been artistically inclined, where I'm drawing all the time. So I found myself doodling on the little yellow post-its, just pictures of animals or cartoon characters and that type of thing. And next thing you know, I have my whole computer screen with little post-its of artwork. And I started to question, why am I here doing computer work? I think I need to do the family business and get into artwork because I come from a family of like very well-known pottery artists. So I thought, I'm gonna try my take on it, see how well I can make pottery. And so that's when I decided to ask my grandma, can she teach me more about making pottery? My father used to make pottery also, so I went to my father and said, "Dad, could you teach me how to polish pottery like you do?" Because he was very well known for making high shine pottery. And so he showed me his skill. My aunt showed me her skill. And then, so next thing you know, I'm participating in an indie market when I was in about 2012, and I did really well my first year, about 20 years old. And ever since then, it's just been a yearly thing for me, and a multitude of things. So it really depends on what I feel like making. Sometimes it could be anything from like uh, I made a piece once where my sister uh, announced to the family that she was pregnant and she was going to have my niece. So I remember that inspired me because I made this really beautiful Pueblo uh, growth of life pottery just because I was about to have a niece and we didn't have a young baby in the family in a while. So I remember doing a young woman who was pregnant, and then the next scene, there was a young girl in traditional garment dancing around, and then dancing, and then the fourth side, she was growing up wearing traditional garments. But sometimes it's just stuff like that, like just life in general. My grandfather was a hunter, and he's retired now, but he used to roam the mountains of the Sangre de Cristos here in New Mexico. And sometimes I would go with him, and he would show me all these bighorn sheep rams and just different game in the mountains. And so, like for instance, this piece, what inspired me uh, was my grandfather. I wanted to do something very grand and big because it was a large piece, and I thought, what would do well on this large piece? And so I thought of the bighorn ram, which lives in the mountain, and I thought it'd be really neat to do something big, such as mountains with some bighorn rams. And so that sort of inspired me, and I thought, well, if I can just make it good enough for my grandfather, I think it should be good enough for the piece of pottery. And so he was someone that inspired me for this piece. So it's just a multitude of different things at the time, really. This is a butterfly dancer, and in the Pueblo, there's many different types of dances that occur throughout the year, and usually it's seasonal. But this one there is a Pueblo butterfly dancer, and if you rotate the piece, there's some traditional key designs there with some daisies and a monarch butterfly on this surface right here. So yeah, a lot of dances that I've seen just growing up, every now and then, and being in the Pueblo on certain feast days and stuff. I'm inspired by also. So, and this is another piece. This is a real classic bowl. This pottery shape reminded me of a larger classic bowl that you see around Indian Market a lot. And I thought, well, it'd be really nice to just make something miniature sized in the same shape and form. So I went with the very classic look on this piece. I was fortunate to receive honorable mention for this piece also. Um, yeah, for this large piece right here, this so I got a first place ribbon in category for this large piece for the bighorn rams. I'm still just having fun with making artwork full time. I feel like I haven't reached my full potential yet, so just want to make some really fun, creative pottery in the future. So keep an eye out for me. My Instagram handle, you can follow that. I post daily pottery pictures of new stuff that I'm working on. If you'd like to learn more about me, my Instagram handle is let's see, at Naranjo Pottery, and I have a Facebook profile also called Naranjo Pottery. So yeah, if you have any interest in checking out some of my artwork, it's here.